Hello everyone, welcome back to Think Outside the Board. This is the fourth crowdfunding roundup for March 2024, and in this week's video we're going to take a look at crowdfunding projects that launched between March 20th and the 26th. With one exception, in last week's video I talked about how I wasn't going to officially feature the new version of Fox Experiment that is the Deluxe Wooden Edition because it wasn't going to fund. Well, in the last week, it has surged forward. It is definitely going to fund now. So I am going to talk about that in today's video. That'll actually be the first campaign that I talk about. And that precedes the normal funding period because it launched, the week previous. So including that campaign, we have a total of 4 campaigns to look at today. It's not going to be a big week or a long video. 2 of those campaigns, including Fox Experiment, are on Gamefound. The other 2 are on Kickstarter. As usual, my videos are tabbed or bookmarked, so you can always scroll over the play bar, find the specific content that you're looking for, and I do have links to all the campaigns that I'm talking about in the description section below. Finally, the best way to support this channel is still to like and subscribe, and I very much appreciate anyone who wants to go ahead and do that. Let's get started with the first campaign, which, as I mentioned, is for the Fox Experiment, the Deluxe Wooden Edition. This was a March 19th launch, so the launch date goes back, more than normal for the campaigns that we're looking at. They currently have $48,000 in funding. They only need about $2,000 more to hit their $50,000 funding goal. And I always say that usually campaigns will do about a third of their business in the last 24 hours. So I'm pretty sure this is going to fund. And then if we hit learn more and click the title card over here, we'll see that the campaign is going to run until April the 5th. So you still have about a week to back this, and plenty of time for this campaign, to meet and exceed that funding goal, which it definitely will. Now, this is a game from Pandasaurus Games, who are best known for Dinosaur Island, The Loop, Sea Salt and Paper, Silver and Gold, and the latest edition of Tammany Hall. It is a co-design between Jeff Frazier, who designed a game called Cartouche, and then Elizabeth Hargrave, who people may know more. She's designed Mariposas, Tussie Mussy, Wingspan, which probably everybody knows, and Undergrove, which I think is set to deliver later this year. It's got art on it from Joe Shawcross, who's also worked on Dinosaur World, Plunderbund, and Warband Against the Darkness. Now, I love it when we're looking at games that pre-exist, so we can go over to Board Game Geek and take a look at the scores there and the weights. And, this is reliable if a game is already out there in the wild and people have been playing it and had a chance to rate it from experience. And the Fox Experiment kickstarted previously. It's delivered this year. People are playing it, and actually delivered in 2023. So this is kind of solid information to go by. It has a score right now of 7.4, which is a pretty solid score, and the weight is a 2.58. I usually say anything over a 2.55 is in the medium-heavy range. So this is just over that line from medium-light into medium-heavy. You're looking at mechanics in this game that include open drafting, claim action, dice rolling, and even though it's a board game, it kind of functions like a roll and write, and it uses dry erase markers on the boards. So you won't be writing on, tearaway sheets of paper that you'll get rid of. You will be writing on laminated boards with dry erase markers that you will erase after your game, and you'll be able to reuse those. Now, unfortunately, there is no video here for me to show you. They don't have one at the top of this page. And I like to include a video if they have it here, advertising their game. What I don't do is feature videos from other content creators who haven't approved it to be used. But I will say, if you scroll down this page, there are some videos from content creators, including Monique and Naveen at Before You Play. And this is a really good video. It will teach you kind of the basics of the game. And if you just want to get an idea of it, you can watch the very beginning of the teach. And you should have an idea if it's for you or not. But I'm not going to show this whole long video here. And I don't even want to use part of their video since it wasn't used up top to advertise the game. So we're not going to watch a video for this one. Instead, we're just going to take a look at the 4 different pledges. The first one here is the Wood Upgrade Kit. Now, what's happened with this campaign is that the original game delivered with plastic pieces. Some people don't want plastic pieces in their games. It's not as eco-friendly, and they wanted a wood version, so that's what they've gone ahead and produced. If you already have the plastic version and you want the wood version, you want to upgrade your old version or have the ability to play it with the new wood pieces or your old plastic pieces, you can back just for the wood upgrade kit. This is a $35 pledge. Now here's the thing. I always talk about shipping in my videos. Whenever I do, I'm talking about US, continental US, lower 48. So if you are elsewhere, Alaska, Hawaii, any other country in the world, you'll need to look at what the shipping is for you. However, they haven't really given shipping estimates for this campaign. All they've said is that they're hoping that the average shipping price will be no more than $30 per backer. I'm assuming, though, that means that the cheaper pledges will have cheaper shipping and the more expensive pledges will have more expensive shipping. But I don't want to guess at that. So all I'm going to say is that we're going to use $30 shipping for everything here, but just know that there will probably be adjustments. So if we say with the $30 shipping, this wood upgrade kit is a $65 pledge, just know that it'll probably be less than that. The shipping will probably be less, maybe $5 or $10 less. So you may be looking at, $60, $55, maybe even $50 for this. But we're using that $30 shipping as sort of a benchmark throughout. Now, they're also offering the Fox Experiment 5 to 6 player expansion plus the wood upgrade kit. So this might be something that you would want if you only got the base game before, and so now you're looking at getting the wood upgrade kit, but you also want to get the expansion. This is a $50 pledge with, again, $30 shipping for an $80 total. Might be a little bit less because this is still on the less expensive side of those pledges. From there, we can go and take a look at the Fox Experiment Deluxe Wood Edition. So this is just the base game, just in this new wooden edition. It's $70 with $30 of shipping. That's probably going to be about accurate for this one, which brings that total to $100. And then the most expensive pledge, the sort of all-in of this campaign, is the Fox Experiment Deluxe Wooden Edition, the base game, plus the 5 to 6 player expansion. You won't need an upgrade kit because you're actually buying that version of the game that's in all wood. This is a $100 pledge with $30 shipping, $130 total. It's possible this one might be a little bit more in shipping to, hit that kind of average of $30. And this is the most expensive pledge. So it wouldn't surprise me to see the shipping on this one go up to maybe $40, which would bring that overall total to $140. But we're just guessing, we're guesstimating. Otherwise, assume $30 shipping per pledge with some adjustments. And finally, this new version of Fox Experiment is slated to deliver in October 2024. The game's already been made. They don't really have to reinvent the wheel. They just have to produce the new wooden components and produce copies of the game that include those wooden components. So it's going to be a shorter turnaround than we see for a lot of campaigns. We're going to stay on Gamefound for the next campaign, which is called Reign of Hades. This one currently has $172,000 off of a $54,000 funding goal, which is about 3 times that funding goal. There's 14 days left in this campaign, which means that it is going to run until April 12th. Now, this is from a new publisher. It's called Legend Crafters. And I think let's just go over here and look at their little statement that they have about their company on Board Game Geek, because why not? We have the extra time. It's a shorter video, and I'm kind of interested in this. So this is how they describe it. At Legend Crafters, our mission is to revolutionize the board game industry by crafting visually stunning and mechanically innovative gameplay experiences that bridge the gap between Amer and Euro game enthusiasts. Through the power of storytelling and character-driven narratives, we take players into immersive worlds where meaningful decisions guide interactive adventures. Now, I'm a little wary of first-time publishers, so why am I so excited about this, considering this company has not made a board game before? Reign of Hades is going to be their first. And the reason for that, if we click on this, is the designers. specifically Richard Amon. Richard Amon is one of the founders of Mindclash, and he, as a designer, has worked on Anachrony, Cerebria the Inside World, Perseverance Castaway Chronicles, and Tricarian Legend of Illusion. Mindclash is one of my favorite publishers, and those are many of my favorite games. They do heavy Euros with such a high level of production value, component production, and the design is just off the charts tops in my opinions as well. So Mindclash makes some of the best Euro games out there with the best components, and they're just meticulously designed, fantastic games. Now, Perseverance Castaway Chronicles, they've run a couple campaigns for that. There's now episodes 1 and 2, which are delivered. I think there's episodes 3 and 4, which are on the way. They'll be delivering this year, I believe. And that brought more of a story element into the Euro games for Mindclash. All of those episodes are linked, so you can kind of play them one after another, and they work almost like a campaign, although they're each played separately, but they're telling a connected story about a group that washes up on an island that has dinosaurs, and they're trying to establish a colony on the island in the first game, and then explore it in the second game, and then kind of more elements kind of show up and are introduced, and then in the final 4th episode, everyone's trying to get off the island and leave the insanity behind. But there is this like narrative element to it that's not always a part of Mindclash games. There's another game that Mindclash was looking at designing and producing for a while called Transhumanity, and that's kind of been put on the back burner for them. But I'm looking at this as a way for Richard Amon to further explore that kind of narrative storytelling while also working within the realm of heavy Euros. And so this really kind of seems in that space. And I mean, if this was being published by Mindclash, I'd be there, no questions asked. And so I think, even though this is coming from one of the Mindclash designers, but is at a different publisher, I'm still very intrigued and very fascinated. The other designer here working with Richard is Attila Sumegi. And then there are 2 artists. Istvan Danyi worked on Perseverance Castaway Chronicles for Mindclash, and the other artist, Damien Mamalidi, has worked on a whole ton of games, including both of the new brasses, Birmingham and Lancashire, Foundations of Rome, Radlands, Tyrants of the Underdark, and The Witcher Old World. So this is a cooperative dungeon crawler. It uses mechanics like action retrieval, hand management, multi-use cards, simultaneous action selection, and variable player powers. One of the things that makes it interesting, I think, is the way you do have variable player powers, but there's going to be this simultaneous action selection where players are kind of choosing what they're doing at the same time and hoping for some synchronicity between their actions. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the video that they've put up here, and then we'll come back and take a look at the 3 pledges and some add-ons.
What is betrayal to a god? Pain and death should be nothing to the immortal. How could we have been so blind? Hades may have stolen our divinity, but we will endure. We will fight. We will have our revenge. Reign of Hades is a cooperative campaign-driven Euro dungeon crawler for 1 to 4 players. Work as a team, forge plans, and execute them together. Confront monsters blocking your path with your bare hands, or using weapons looted from your environment. Fight and advance the story on the battlefield. Then support your teammate from cover and hunt for sentinels in the shadows, reducing the threat. Rolling dice is just the beginning of combat. Crush your enemies with the perfect attack through the innovative dice grid system. Rank up, promote, or set the dice to a specific face. Then use modifiers for further enhancements. Reclaim your divinity by upgrading your character, and evolve to higher levels, unlocking your full potential with unique abilities that grow in power. Fight your way way to the summit of Mount Olympus and seek your revenge, or perish in the reign of Hades.
Okay, that was dramatic, wasn't it? This reminds me quite a bit of a game that I talked about last week called Requiem Downfall of Magic, which was being published by Ludus Magnus Studios. But I think it's an interesting time for dungeon crawlers because we're seeing a lot of these cooperative games that have a storytelling element where you're making choices within that. And so based on the choices you may get different rewards. You may unlock other avenues of story. And I think it's also a way when you're bringing in kind of that type of mechanic, you can appeal to gamers that haven't really played hardcore dungeon crawls in the past. So they're finding ways to take out, I think, some of that number crunching of Dungeons and Dragons that was, present in a lot of old school dungeon crawlers. And they're finding ways to use player choice to create the experience. And sometimes it's simpler. Sometimes it can be really repetitive, or, the campaign can be on rails and offer you choices that don't really customize the gameplay and don't really change up too much. So you kind of think you're making these choices and they funnel you back to the same storyline with only a few cosmetic differences. But I think there's an opportunity with these kinds of games to offer different choices leading to different storylines that really change up what happens in the game and the gameplay. And looking at a campaign game like this, if the game has done that, if it's well designed and executes that really well, then it offers you the ability to go back and play it again using different characters, making different choices. And if there are enough choices there that are different enough and the game is well designed enough, you will have enough of a different experience to really merit at least a second playthrough. And you can play with a different group too, so the people you're playing with will change the experience as well. But I like that they're doing this more and more, and I also like the kind of booklet that they're using in a lot of these. I think they used one in Requiem Downfall of Magic as well. It's kind of reminiscent of Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion, where they're not necessarily trying to build everything with cardboard tiles. I think a cheaper option is to have, a binder with thicker map pages, not cardboard thick, but not paper thick, kind of in between like a cardstock, and you can just page through that and have all your different maps in there for your various locations and dungeons. And I think that's a really smart, economical way of doing this to get as much game and bang for your buck as possible in the box. So I think within that, though, we're seeing a lot of games like this being produced. And so then it becomes a question of, well, what's going to make you pick one over another? And I have so many games right now, I need to back less and less, and I'm having to be more specific about what I back. So for me, I think between the two of these, I really like Mind Clash so much, and I like Richard Amon as a designer that has me leaning towards this one if I was to back one of the two. That's just my 2 cents, and there's a good chance I'll end up backing this. But I'm definitely going to be backing the 4th campaign of the video, so stick around if you want to see what that is. But let's take a look at the various pledges that they have here. There are 4 of these. I might have mentioned 3 at the top, but there are 4. The first one is the Standard Edition. This is an $82 pledge with $19 in shipping, or $111 total. And this is simply going to get you the core box with the Gamefound exclusives, things that are unlocked during the course of the campaign, and those exclusives will not be included if the game goes to retail. If it does, and they decide to offer those exclusives at all, those will be sold separately, but it's more likely they just would not go to retail at all. And those are the kinds of things that are unlocked and added over the course of the campaign through these stretch goals. Now, there is also this extended edition gameplay all-in for $104 with $19 of shipping, or $123 total. And that is going to add one thing to the previous pledge, which is the additional Olympian god characters. That is the one item that gets added going from the standard to the extended edition gameplay all in. The next pledge up from that is the Deluxe Edition for $132 with $22 of shipping for $154 total. That's going to take that Extended Edition and add 3 things to it. The Monster Miniatures Pack, Metal Ichor, which are these kind of metal tokens, and scenario boxes to make the setup and teardown and kind of saving the game in between sessions easier. And the 4th and final pledge here is the Super Deluxe Edition, $165 with $22 in shipping or $187 total. That's going to add 2 more things, the Acrylic Token Pack and an extra dice pack. So those are all of your pledges. If we want to look and see what is available as add-ons, here they are. The Heroic Weapons and Items Pack is not included with any of the pledges. So if you want these extra cards, this is something that you will need to add on. It is $6 as an add-on. But that's only if you haven't been following the campaign. So what you want to do is when you come to this, if you're going to back this, click follow, and then this should be unlocked as a free gift. But if for some reason it's not, or if you don't pledge until after the campaign is over, you can always add on this kind of little extra card pack for $6. There's also a special dice tower made for this game, the Hades Throne Dice Tower. This is $17. This is not included in any of the pledges, so if you want this, you will need to add it on. And then the last thing here that is not included in any of the pledges is a wash for the miniatures. It's $22. Again, you'll need to add this on. If you're going all in, if you're doing that Super Deluxe pledge, which is in the continental US, $187 with shipping, and you want to add on the things here that are not included elsewhere, which are the dice tower and the miniatures, the pack you should be getting for free, this will add on 17 and 22 to your total, bringing your overall total to $226. The acrylic tokens and the extra dice pack, these are the things that are only included in the Super Deluxe pledge, can be gotten as add-ons if you only want one of them. The acrylic tokens are $28 as an add-on, and the extra dice pack is $17. Finally, Legend Crafters is planning on delivering Reign of Hades in November 2025, so we've got about a year and a half until this one is set to deliver. From there, we're going to head over to Kickstarter to take a look at Tokyo Capsule Hotel. Now, I think people either know Jordan Draper and Jordan Draper Games or they don't. He has a whole series of Tokyo-themed games. He also has Import-Export, and he kickstarted a definitive version of that. This current campaign of his is currently got about $37,000 in funding off of a $24,000 funding goal, or 1.5 times their funding goal. And the campaign is going to run until April the 10th. Now, this one features real-time bartering and negotiation, line drawing, and stock holding and trading. Interesting combination of mechanics, and Jordan Draper is a very singular designer, artist, and publisher. All of his games have a certain kind of aesthetic behind them, and they all look a certain way, and they're really like nothing else out there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the video so you can kind of see that vibe in action, and then we'll come back and we'll look at the price for the single pledge as well as the deal that's kind of happening with add-ons.
Tokyo Capsule Hotel. Game overview. Note, we have unlocked custom dice on Kickstarter. Not shown here. Introduction. In this game, you will play as a hotel and real estate investor in the future city of Tokyo. The player who can pay off their loan first will win the game. This game plays 2 to 5 players and takes 60 to 120 minutes. There are 3 phases in the game and a potential of 8 rounds. The first phase of each round is loans and interest. The first round, players decide on their starting loan and interest. The higher the loan, the more interest that will accrue each round. From the second round onward, players check to see if they can pay their loan and interest to trigger game end. Phase 2, purchase and barter. This phase takes place in real time. No need to wait for your turn. Your options are to purchase from the game, including land parcels that you trace onto the map, hotel franchise units,
attractions to bring more income to your hotels, vending machines and graveyards to allow for hotel building, and more. This phase is when you'll try to build up an income stream so you can get paid when the phase ends. When a certain amount of yen and or coupons are spent purchasing things, the phase will end. You can also barter in this phase. Open bartering is both encouraged and necessary. You will need to barter with other players to succeed. You can do things such as sell off land subdivisions that you draw on the map, trade hotel units, or whatever else you can think up that is a fair deal. Phase 3, income. This is the phase where everyone gets paid. Whatever hotels you own on your land, you will get paid for. Hotels make a base level income depending on how many of them are on the map and get a boost from attraction die rolls. Different districts share bonuses from these die rolls, so be careful who you sell land to. Finally, graveyards minus income from all hotels on the same large parcel. Whoa! After you get paid, including coupons, which can only be used to purchase from the game and not to pay off your loan or interest, return to the first phase of the next round. And that is the overview. This game has a ton of depth, is easy to pick up and teach, and offers a very unique experience each playthrough. I'm sure you're going to love it. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
One thing that's interesting, I think, you don't really get it as much looking at the gameplay, but the name of the game is Tokyo Capsule Hotel, and that refers to the kinds of hotels in Tokyo where you're literally renting kind of like a bed tube. And Jordan Draper, the designer, actually talks about doing a lot of research and going to these hotels. I mean, there's more to the game than that because you're managing property and stuff like that, but I think it's interesting that it is themed around these capsule hotels. So the single pledge level available through this campaign is $49. There's $11 of shipping on this, so $60 total. And then as far as add-ons go, if we click on details, I don't think there's an add-on section, but if we click on details, it's going to open up a whole bunch of things you can add on. And in general, it's all of Jordan Draper's games that you could normally buy off his website with a 40% discount. And I'm not going to go through all of them because there's a lot. And, you can see things here like, these are some of his games, Cactus and Praise, the kind of smaller games. And then you've got all of his, there's Currency and stuff, but you've got all of his Tokyo games, Tokyo Tsukiji expansion, the Osaka Metro expansion, Tokyo Judoku, Tokyo Coin Laundry, Tokyo Game Show. They did a Kickstarter at one point for 6 of these games, kind of all bundled together. And then you've got import and export. So any of his stuff, 40% off, that's listed here anyway. Pretty good prices for his catalog. But those are the add-ons. And then this campaign is slated to deliver in December 2024, so at the end of this year. And we're going to stay on Kickstarter for our final campaign of the video. This is for Mythwind, Reprint, and new content. And I think I skipped over the launch dates as I was talking about the various campaigns. But the Deluxe Wooden Edition of Fox Experiment was a March 19th launch. Reign of Hades was March 20th. Tokyo Capsule Hotel was March 24th. And then Mythwind just launched on Tuesday of this week on March the 26th. They currently have about $262,000 in funding. That's off of a $37,000 funding goal. So that's about 7 times their funding goal. That makes them the wealthiest campaign of the video and the one that's making the most money when compared to their funding goal. So the highest multiplier. And then finally, this new Mythwind campaign is going to run until April the 19th. So Mythwind is published by Open Owl Studios. They put out Stars of Ikarios in 2022. They have Stone Saga delivering this year. Mythwind came out last year, and now they're doing this reprint and an expansion for Mythwind that I believe is going to be delivering next year. It's designed by Brendan McCaskill, who has also designed Battle Bears, the board game, Last One Standing, the Battle Royale board game, and Stars of Ikarios. And he is joined in co-design by Nathan Liege. And the artist is Amanda Kaditz. So Brendan is really the only one of those three that has previous work in board gaming. But Mythwind does exist. It is out there in the wild because it delivered this year. My wife and I are wanting to start playing our copy, but we're currently kind of submersed in Earthborn Rangers at the moment. But we hope to kind of start working Mythwind in soon. But if you look it up over here on Board Game Geek, it has a 7.8 rating, which is pretty darn good. It's a 2.93 complexity, which is over that line in the medium heavy, the line being at 2.55, and the line to heavy being at 3.33. So it's kind of right in the middle there. I don't think the game is actually that heavy, but it is one of these games where not only is it variable player powers, but each player is using as a completely different set of mechanics. So in that sense, you could compare it to something like Root or Merchant's Cove, and I think that complexity may be boosted because some gamers, when they approach a game where every player has to learn a different rule set, they see that as extra complicated. And certainly if you're going to be teaching it to a group, you have to be able to teach each set of mechanics separately. It is in general, though, kind of a cooperative civilization game that has a campaign to it. It includes storytelling. Depending on your variable player powers, you could be working with worker placement or tile placement. And I think the best overview is going to come from watching the attached video here and hearing Brendan McCaskill talk about the game. And then we'll go back and we'll look at the 8 pledges and a whole wealth of add-ons.
My name is Brendan, and I'm the head of Open Owl Studios. Thank you so much for checking out our Kickstarter today. Open Owl Studios is an indie board game studio located in British Columbia, Canada, and today we are so excited to talk to you about Mythwind. Mythwind is a single-player and cooperative, cozy board game experience where each player chooses a unique character to help grow a village in the magical Mythwind Valley. You see, at the start of Mythwind, this magical creature named Fix invites you into this mysterious valley where you have to help bring flourishing back once again. Mythwind has a rich story with beautiful artwork that we can't wait for you to experience. And it's not the only thing that makes Mythwind unique. See, Mythwind is a cozy game. Now, you might be familiar with the word cozy game from video games, but what we mean when we say a cozy board game is a game without a win or a lose condition. You see, the journey is more important than the destination in our mind. So when you start playing Mythwind, it's all about the experience. It's all about settling into the relaxing narrative, enjoying the progression of your character, the progression of the town, and just experiencing it with yourself and your loved ones. So it's a really special experience that for those of you who have got a chance to play it, wow, thank you so much for your feedback. And for those of you who are about to, we are so excited for you to experience this in some ways, a new genre in the board game world. When you first play Mythwind, you'll choose one of the characters. In the core box, there's the farmer, crafter, ranger, merchant, and in the expansion we have the innkeeper. Now each of these characters, they play completely uniquely. They have their own like little rule book, their own set of mechanics. You know, one's a bag builder, one's a polyomino type game, one's a, you know, there's multiple different mechanics at play. And you can even, you can play the farmer for a couple seasons, switch to the ranger if you want some more variety, and kind of swap in and out with absolutely kind of no repercussions. It's really just a whole lot of options for you to experience. And we can do this because we have meticulously designed every component in Mythwind, from the cards to the dual layer boards to our unique, I think, cutting edge tray system that allows you to get the game to the table in minutes. It really is a testament to the wonderful team that has been working to produce and manufacture Mythwind, and I am so proud of the group that have come together. Now, this campaign isn't just about Mythwind and the content that we're reprinting. We actually have a new expansion that we're excited to share. This new expansion is called Friends and Family. And we've heard you. One of the things that you have asked for the most as our community is more character interaction, player interaction. And so Friends and Family is all about characters interacting with one another. So let's say you're playing the crafter. You can go hang out with the farmer and purchase a strawberry from the farmer, bring it back, and on your turn you can spend that strawberry for a boost. And we have these unique interactions between every single character in Mythwind, and we're so excited for how this is going to kind of create some of those, some of the community table atmosphere. And we have even more in this expansion. Friends and Family has all this character interaction, but it also has interactable villagers. These villagers get placed on a new community board that when you build certain buildings, like the bakery, the baker village will show up, and you can actually increase your friendship with that villager. You can learn more about them, their quirks, their different personality traits. Eventually, even propose marriage to them. Hopefully, they say yes. We'll see how your friendship status has gone, and it's a real unique way to kind of rediscover more about the Mythwind Valley and the community that inhabits it. So, thank you once again for being here. Open Owl Studios, we exist because you, our Kickstarter community, have chosen to put your faith and trust in us as we really kind of step out and create these very unique board game experiences. And we're just thrilled to be here again with this reprint campaign and this new content. So again, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much.
Okay, so that is Mythwind. And let's take a look at the pledges that they have through this new campaign. There's a bunch. So we're starting with new gameplay. This is going to include that new expansion, the Friends and Family expansion. Also revised rule books. So some of the rule books will have some rules changes and things. They've got a whole new set of rule books. And then if you pledge at any level, you're going to get something called the Secret Lives of Sprites. That's like an extra kind of card pack, and they're putting that together with stretch goals. If you were to do a late pledge or something, you could also get the card pack at that time, but you'd have to spend $7 for it. But if you pledge during the campaign, you will get that pack with any of your pledges. So this is a $40 pledge with $15 in shipping, or $55 total. Let's say you don't have the base game and you just want essentially the standard version of the game. That is this pledge. It's called Mythwind. It's an $85 pledge, $20 in shipping, $105 total. So that just includes the base game and that Secret Lives of Sprites pack. And this is really the only way to get the miniatures without the wash on them. So I'm not sure if they're going to be producing this anymore after this campaign, but you'll see as we look at the various pledges that everything else has a wash on the various miniatures, but this one does not, so it's a little bit cheaper. If we look at this pledge, it's the same pledge, but it has that Myth Drop wash. So this is a $90 pledge with $20 shipping, $110. It's only $5 more for the wash. I think that's why they might eventually be eliminating the non-wash version. So $5, and that is on 4 figures that you're getting that wash. That's like $1.25 a figure just for the wash. Everything new is the 4th pledge. This takes that first pledge that we were looking at, the new gameplay, and it's going to add on to that tracker tokens, a dice tower, a coloring book, and a stationery set. This is a $120 pledge with $20 in shipping, or $140 total. Then we're going to jump up. Oh, and this just comes with the original Mythwind itself. So this is the non-wash version of the base game. And this is kind of the only pledge of its type where there's not also a Myth Drop version. So from there, we're going to go to the next pledge level. It is the Mythwind gameplay. This has the Expanded Horizons expansion. It also has the base game. It has the Friends and Family expansion. And it's got Winds of Magic, which was kind of an extra smaller expansion card pack that came with the first campaign, and the event card pack that also came with the first campaign. Oh, and Expanded Horizons was the expansion with the first campaign that included a 5th playable character. So that expansion only adds on 1 character to the possibilities. So instead of having 4 characters to choose from, you would have 5 if you have that Expanded Horizons expansion. So this pledge is $170 with $30 of shipping, or $200 total. Or you could back the Myth Drop version, which is $176. It's all of the same stuff, but the figures are going to have that Myth Drop wash on them. So $176 plus $30 in shipping, or $206 total. It's only $6 more than the previous pledge without the wash. Finally, we've got the all-in, and there are 2 pledges for this one as well. It's going to take the items that you were getting in the Mythwind gameplay pledges and then add on to that magical miniatures, a neoprene mat, metal coins, a journal, and an art book. Now, some of these aren't really gameplay related, like the journal or the art book. Some of these are quality of play upgrades, like the neoprene mat and the metal coins. And then the magical miniatures are, I forget how many, let's say 6 to 8 miniatures. They're not essential. They're also sort of a cosmetic upgrade. So this pledge is $354 with $35 in shipping, $389 total. Or you can go in for the Myth Drop version, which is going to include Myth Drop on all of the figures, including those magical miniatures figures. So this pledge level is $369 plus $35 in shipping, or $404 total. So this one is a $15 increase over this, because that wash is now being applied to, I think, more than twice as many figures once you throw in those magical miniatures. Now, I believe they do have an add-on section over here, yeah. So if you're wanting to kind of get various things and parcel out the add-ons in ways that aren't grouped into the various pledges, here's your opportunity to do that. So in the add-on section, you can add on the base game here with the Myth Drop miniatures for $100. You can add on Expanded Horizons, that's the 5th character pack, for $35, or the version with Myth Drop for $40. You can add on the magical miniatures for $25, and here's a look at what those miniatures look like. Or you can get the version with Myth Drop. And everything they're actually showing here are the versions with Myth Drop. They kind of have a brown, almost sepia tone to them. Otherwise, they would just be normal, kind of gray miniatures. And so I think this looks really good, and it's not a lot of expense beyond the figures themselves. Now, the new Friends and Family expansion as an add-on is $35. The Winds of Magic card pack, which was from the first campaign, is available here as an add-on for $15, and it has its own self-contained story. The event card pack, also from the first campaign, if you didn't pick it up then, or maybe some of these things you grabbed it at retail and so you don't have these things, you can get them now. So the event card pack here is $5 as an add-on, and then the revised rulebooks and reference cards are $7. Then we start to get into the items that are new with this campaign. So we've got this dice tower for $35. We've got the tracker tokens, which deluxify the original tokens for $10. And I think for my money, what I probably will do with this one, I'll probably get, instead of getting everything new, because I don't think I want the coloring book, the stationery set, or the dice tower, I'll probably just go with new gameplay, which is $40 with $15 of shipping, $55 total. And then I'll add to that the tracker tokens, which will make my grand total $65. Other things from the first campaign, if you don't have them yet and you want them, the neoprene mat is available as an add-on for $35. The metal coins, 120 of them, are available as an add-on for $25. And the character miniatures with Myth Drop, just in case you maybe bought your version at retail and it came with regular miniatures and you really want to upgrade those miniatures, you can get just these miniatures with Myth Drop as an add-on for $25. The art book as an add-on is $20. So is the coloring book. And the faux leather journal, which was available in the first campaign, $15 as an add-on. So this isn't really even formatted in any way. It is just blank sheets of paper within this kind of faux leather cover and backing. And then the stationery set is also new, $15 as an add-on. And finally, Open Owl Studios is planning on delivering the reprint of Mythwind and the new expansion and everything else in this campaign in February of 2025. So hopefully less than a year until this delivers. And that wraps our video for the week. Thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully I was able to bring something that you didn't know about to your attention, or help you make a backing decision in going over the pledges and the add-ons and the components. I will be back next week with a new video. I have no idea yet what will be in that video, but everything that's launched on crowdfunding in the last couple of days that are within the period for next week's video, there's nothing yet that I'm interested in sharing with you. So I'll have to see what launches over the next week, and most importantly, next week on Tuesday, which is the big day for board game launches. But any which way, come back, see me next week, same time, same channel. We'll see what launched, what I think is good enough for you to back, and not too risky for you to be pledging. Until then, play lots of great games, have a great weekend, enjoy yourselves, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.